Agatha Christie entered the world in 1890 in a comfortable English home, surrounded by books, imagination, and a childhood encouraged to wander freely through stories, questions, and playful inventions rather than strict routines. From an early age, she showed a gentle curiosity about people, listening carefully to conversations, noticing moods, and remembering small details that others ignored, as if her mind quietly collected puzzle pieces for later use. She learned to read unusually early, and books quickly became companions, teachers, and secret doorways that allowed her imagination to travel far beyond gardens, tea tables, and ordinary afternoons. Although she did not attend school in a traditional way for many years, Agatha learned eagerly at home, absorbing language, rhythm, and storytelling naturally, without pressure, competition, or fear of mistakes. Music, poetry, and daydreams filled her early life, shaping a mind that enjoyed patterns, timing, and emotional shifts, all of which would later sneak quietly into her writing. As Agatha grew older, the world around her began to feel more complicated because adulthood arrived with expectations, responsibilities, and the slow realization that life did not always follow neat, happy plots. The First World War changed everything, and during this time Agatha worked in a hospital pharmacy, learning carefully about medicines, chemicals, and their effects, knowledge that would later become strangely important. While others saw shelves of bottles and labels, Agatha noticed possibilities, understanding how small substances could cause powerful reactions, a realization that quietly shaped her future mysteries. During evenings and moments of quiet, she began writing stories, testing ideas, imagining crimes not out of darkness, but out of curiosity about how truth hides behind appearances. Her first detective story introduced Hercule Poirot, a small man with a large mustache, sharp manners, and an even sharper mind, who solved problems not with fists or speed, but with careful thinking. At first, publishers rejected her work, sending letters that disappointed her deeply, yet she continued writing, refining her voice, trusting that patience mattered more than immediate success. Eventually, her persistence paid off, and her stories found readers who were delighted by clever plots, surprising twists, and endings that rewarded careful attention. Agatha understood that mysteries worked best when readers felt invited rather than confused, challenged rather than tricked, and respected rather than fooled. Her writing style avoided violence for its own sake, focusing instead on logic, observation, and human behavior, which made her stories exciting without becoming frightening. As her popularity grew, Agatha continued to observe people closely, noticing how kindness, jealousy, fear, and pride could quietly influence actions. She traveled widely, especially with her archaeologist husband, visiting ancient sites and unfamiliar places that filled her imagination with fresh settings and textures. These journeys allowed her to place mysteries on trains, boats, quiet villages, and distant landscapes, turning ordinary environments into stages for suspense. One of her most famous characters, Miss Marple, appeared gentle and harmless, yet possessed a sharp understanding of human nature, proving that wisdom often hides behind modest appearances. Agatha enjoyed creating detectives who solved mysteries by thinking rather than chasing, teaching readers that intelligence and patience can be more powerful than force. Her plots became known for fairness because every clue appeared clearly, even if readers did not recognize its importance until the final revelation. Agatha believed that mystery stories were games between writer and reader, where honesty created trust and cleverness created delight. She wrote steadily and prolifically, producing novels, short stories, and plays with remarkable consistency and control. Each new book tested new ideas, characters, and structures, keeping her work fresh and unpredictable. Readers learned to slow down while reading her stories because small details often carry great importance. Her mysteries encouraged thinking, guessing, and discussion, turning reading into an active experience rather than a passive one. Even young readers could enjoy her stories because excitement came from curiosity and reasoning rather than fear. Agatha never needed dramatic language to hold attention because her calm tone allowed suspense to grow naturally. She understood rhythm perfectly, knowing when to reveal information and when to remain silent. Her success grew quietly but steadily until her name became familiar in homes around the world. Despite fame, she remained private, preferring observation to attention. Agatha continued writing through personal struggles, changes, and uncertainty, using storytelling as both craft and comfort. Her ability to imagine complex plots remained strong, even as life grew more demanding. She trusted structure, discipline, and routine, believing creativity worked best when given steady support. Each mystery reflected her belief that truth, though hidden, always leaves traces. Agatha showed that cleverness did not need arrogance, and suspense did not need cruelty. Her stories rewarded patience and careful thinking, qualities she valued deeply. As decades passed, her books continued reaching new generations, proving that curiosity never grows old. Readers found comfort in her familiar voices, reliable quality, and surprising endings. Agatha Christie's work slowly became a bridge between ages, cultures, and minds. She transformed everyday observation into lasting storytelling. Her journey as a writer was still unfolding, with even greater mysteries waiting to be written. And as her imagination continued working quietly, the world leaned closer, ready to follow every careful clue she placed along the way. As Agatha Christie moved deeper into her career, her confidence grew not from applause or praise, but from the quiet satisfaction of constructing mysteries that clicked together like finely balanced machines powered by human behavior. Each new novel became more ambitious, with tighter plots, larger casts of suspects, and deeper psychological tension, as if she were carefully raising the difficulty level of a puzzle game enjoyed by millions. Readers began trusting her completely because even when stories led them in the wrong direction, they sensed that the truth remained fair, logical, and patiently waiting to be discovered. Agatha understood that suspense was strongest not in action, but in anticipation, where silence, pauses, and conversations could feel heavier than shouting or chaos. Her characters grew more complex, revealing that guilt, innocence, and truth rarely lived alone, but tangled together inside ordinary people facing extraordinary situations. Trains, mansions, ships, and quiet villages became pressure chambers, where secrets bubbled upward and masks slowly cracked under careful observation. With every book, Agatha sharpened her skill at misdirection, gently guiding readers to focus on one detail while truth hid quietly in plain sight. She respected her audience deeply, believing readers were partners in thinking rather than targets to be fooled. As her fame spread across countries and languages, Agatha became one of the most widely read authors in history, though she rarely spoke loudly about success. Theaters filled with audiences watching her plays, including The Mousetrap, which ran year after year, proving that mystery thrived not only on the page, but on the stage as well. Even so, she never lost her simple joy in storytelling, always returning to the pleasure of asking a good question and patiently arranging clues. Critics studied her structures, writers learned from her precision, and readers continued guessing eagerly until the very last page. Agatha's stories traveled easily across generations because curiosity, suspicion, and surprise belong to every age. Children found excitement in solving puzzles, while adults admired the clever craftsmanship behind every reveal. She avoided trends and fashions, trusting logic and human nature instead, which allowed her work to remain timeless. Agatha proved that mystery writing required discipline as much as imagination, because every word had weight and purpose. Her calm narrative voice created a sense of control, even as chaos brewed beneath the surface. As years passed, her productivity remained astonishing, fueled by routine, focus, and a deep love for her craft. She showed that consistency was not boring, but powerful when paired with curiosity. Even when critics underestimated her work, readers continued returning faithfully, trusting her storytelling instincts. Agatha never needed shocking scenes because her strength lay in implication, timing, and observation. She understood that fear grows quietly, fed by uncertainty rather than noise. Her influence spread across books, films, television, and classrooms, shaping how mysteries were written for decades. Countless writers borrowed her ideas, structures, and techniques, knowingly or not, yet none could fully copy her balance of simplicity and complexity. Agatha's characters lingered in readers' minds, not because they were flashy, but because they felt believable. She reminded the world that intelligence could be gentle and logic could be entertaining. Toward the later years of her life, she continued writing steadily, never losing interest in how humans think, lie, and reveal themselves. Her imagination stayed active, curious, and sharp. When Agatha Christie passed away in 1976, the world did not simply lose an author, but a master puzzle maker whose games would never expire. Her books continued selling, reading, and inspiring long after she was gone. Readers kept returning, hoping to outsmart her stories, only to smile when she outsmarted them instead. Her legacy proved that stories do not need speed to be thrilling. They need clarity, curiosity, and respect for the audience. Agatha Christie taught us that mysteries reflect how humans hide truth, even from themselves. She transformed quiet observation into powerful storytelling. Her work continues whispering that every secret leaves a trail. And for readers willing to notice carefully, the answer is always there, waiting patiently to be found.